Here we go, episode 61 uploaded and coming at you as we're getting oh so close to the Kentucky Derby. 10 days away from the Derby, 9 days away from Kentucky Oaks, and we want to continue to kind of lay out the pace scenario, how we think things will develop, and that way you can kind of hone in on the runner that you're choosing, all right? So previously, we talked about pace setters, right? The 5 horses that we think will be out there on the front end trying to dictate the fractions, right? Well, today we want to talk about the horses that are going to sit off of that. They're called stalkers, right? Your pace stalker. What do they do, right? Where are they going to be, and how can they turn that into a winning performance? Well, first off, talk about what the pace stalker is. It's exactly what that means, right? There's pace, and there's a horse that's tracking every single move, waiting. In fact, if you look it up, there's a term called stalking horse that's used in business. And that's when somebody comes in and they make an offer on a bid, usually like an auction or bankruptcy type proceeding. That stalker horse comes in and makes a bid, but that bid is to assist a third party that's going to come through and pick everything up. So stalker is kind of the same thing. That stalker is sitting off of the speed horse, and they're going to be the first ones to make that move. They're trying to get the jump on the closers. They're the first one to make the offer, the first one to say, let me take over here, speed, you're done. And then they try to make sure that the closers don't come and get them. Stalkers are very, very important because it's sometimes really, really hard for closers to make up a lot of ground in the Kentucky Derby. So your stalkers are the horses that have first crack at getting the lead when we turn for home. Let's take a look at the horses we believe will be in that spot on May the 3rd. Grande is a horse that pretty much did that in the wood when he ran second to a loose lead speed horse named Rodriguez, right? So Grande, who's now just making the 4th start of the career, and I think the horse has developed quite rapidly. If you go back and look at his debut performance when he sat just off the pace, right? He was in a stalking position and he scored. He paid $20 to win. He came back in his next start when they stretched him out from the mile on the debut to a mile and an eighth, and he was in more of a pace setting position because he was just better than that field. And then he went to stalking behind Rodriguez and Captain Cook in the wood. And he was in a great spot. Just, Rodriguez had everything his way, so no one was going to get that horse. But Grande was in a great spot. He should be stalking the pace with Johnny V. Luxor Cafe is another horse we think will stalk the pace. He's got an incredible turn of foot, but I don't think he wants to be where the closers are going to be. I think he wants to be right there with Grande. You got Luxor Cafe sitting in the right spot, and then he'll probably try to get the jump. He'll probably try and do this. These horses have a similar move to California Chrome, where they have enough speed to get them in position early on, and then they've got that acceleration. I call it that spurtability, where they can get away from the field quickly. I think Luxor Cafe has that. Tappan Street, or Tappan Street, the Florida Derby winner, sat in a perfect stalking position in the Florida Derby, and I think they'll try and do the exact same thing. The only difference, I believe, is in the Derby. I think Luis Saez might have Tappan Street a little bit closer, but I think he's going to be in the perfect stalking position, and he's got the right running style. He's got a nice acceleration, so he'll be in that stalking spot, and he'll have company. Journalism is a horse that does not want to be too far back. He's got a great closing kick, but I don't think he's got a sovereignty final gambit kind of kick. I think he wants to be in a good stalking position and not in a dead closer position. And if he is in a good stalking position, woo-wee, as long as Umberto Rispoli can work out that traffic situation, Journalism is going to be a beast turning for home. And then this other horse that I believe will be stalking, it's American Promise. Now, we saw American Promise in the Virginia Derby, and he was sitting behind Getaway Car. On that day, Irad Ortiz and Getaway Car, they were intent on getting the lead, so he got it. But American Promise, he showed so much early speed that he was in a perfect spot, just stalking, right behind those runners. And he looked really, really good. Now, my minor concern is that he might be a little keyed up, and he might try to go with the pace setters. We'll see if Nick Juarez can get American Promise to kind of relax and sit in that stalking position. And if he can, he has the same running style as these other runners on the list as Journalism, Tappan Street, Luxor Cafe, and Grande. He's probably closer to Grande in terms of being more forwardly placed, but he's going to want to stalk. That's what he wants to do. And that's how he wins the race. If he can get into a stalking position, that's how American Promise can make some things happen. But we'll see if he's sort of, you know, versatile enough to be like, yeah, let me sit here. Let's take a look at your Kentucky Derby leaderboard. No huge changes just yet. We've got some things happening. We're taking a look at our runners. We know Rodriguez is going. I think Cole Battle's a little keyed up, so I think he might be out there as well. Taking a look at your second page. We're still thinking about what we're going to do with Citizen Bull, but we've taken that speed away from American Promise because we think American Promise is going to try to settle and rate in a stalking position, and that might be to his benefit. We know Madaket Road is out. I still feel like Built is officially not going to be here, and then we'll deal with Neo Equus after that, right? So that's a good look at what's happening with your runners, and we talk about the stalkers, right? Take a look at how you're handicapping the race and see if you agree about those 5 horses. I'm sure we're not going to be completely aligned with all of these because handicapping is really about all of our opinions, right? What I've seen and how I feel about it, what you've seen and how you feel about it, then you make your list from there. No more red flag runners thus far. You know, just the 3 runners that we saw early on in Tistastic. And we got, you know, we've been given more context. He's not a good morning workhorse, and he doesn't really like the surface there at Churchill compared to the way he feels about the fairgrounds. But we still feel like it's a red flag. Cole Battle's kind of excited and gets kind of keyed up. I think that might be a red flag, right? Flying Mohawk, he wasn't relaxed. High head carriage, just seemed like he's kind of like out of his element there on the dirt. That's kind of a red flag, right? So you continue to look at all the works from these horses, and we've seen most of them just doing their job and looking good, and then we've seen a few having some just minor hiccups. Not a big deal, but enough for us to say, okay, I don't have complete confidence in you, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then find your green arrow horses that you feel like, hey, this horse is going in the right direction. So we'll see how it goes, right? We'll continue to track these horses, continue to track their progress. 10 days until Kentucky Derby. So much fun. 10 days till Derby, 9 days till Oaks. All right, that's going to do it for us here today. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, we'll see you right here on Horse Race Bets. I'm Ken Rudolph, and do me a favor. Good luck, and enjoy whatever you're into. We'll see you next time.